Hello, this is Mr. Huff, and one of the things I want to do is show you how to make a hole in the side of the body part that you have made. First thing we're going to do is choose Start Sketch, and we're going to go right here on this side, so we're on this outer plane. And I'm just going to draw a 2-point rectangle out here floating in space. Wait, before I do that, I want to choose this little button here. It makes a construction line. I prefer to use construction lines. The reason is, as you start working on a more complex things, if you're using it, you just need some reference points and reference lines. Construction lines make a lot of sense. If you start adding actual sketches, then those become parts that will confuse extrusions and stuff like that. So I prefer to work with construction lines first and then do just my actual sketch pieces as drawings. That's my preference. So I'm just going to draw a 2-point rectangle out here hanging out in space, and I'm going to make it 0.3 tall and 0.7 wide, and that's going to be where I want to put my little hole. Is going to be attached to one of these corners. Now I need to go in and make some collinear constraints because I want this to be attached to the front of the block and I want this to touch to the bottom of the block. So we're going to choose collinear constraint, this one, and I want to choose this edge. Let's zoom in a little bit so we can see what's happening. Too much. Nope. Okay, so that's not what I wanted. Let's go back to the right. So let's zoom in just a little bit. So I want to choose this line and this outermost line here. So those are collinear, and I want to choose the bottom and the bottom edge, and those are collinear. So what we've done is we've added a little sketch of a rectangle here. So another thing I wanted to do, just to make my life easy, I'm going to turn off this, the construction line. I'm going to set a point right here at the corner of that little rectangle. Bam! Finished sketch. Now, if I immediately go and click hole, the last thing I had was that point, so I'm going to choose hole, and it's going to connect it to that little place where I just had where I just defined that point. So it says, okay, that's the last thing. You probably want a hole there. Okay, yours is going to come up with through all, and what that's going to do is make a hole all the way through the body, and that's not what we want. So you can see it's actually punching all the way through. We're going to choose this little drop down and go distance. There's also another one is 2, and what that will do is just drill a hole until it hits another face. And that's okay, but really in this one I specified a distance. So if you look at this, it tells you the depth in the first number, and the second number is the width of the hole. And if I recall, it's 0.3 deep, and it's going to be 0.29. I want to show you something as you do this. If you put 2 inches right there, it's going to show you a preview of what a 2-inch hole would look like there. And that's way too big. That's not what we want, but I thought that would be cool to show you. We want a 0.29 hole, and it's going to be 0.3 deep. And check my specifications on that. Some other things you can notice about the different holes here: you can do a counter bore, which puts a little hole on top of the hole, and you can do one that's got a shallower one. I forgot what this is called. If you float over it, it usually will tell you. And then we have one that's got a countersink, spot face, counter bore, but in this one we just want a simple hole. Okay. Other things you can choose are these like threaded holes and tapped holes and that sort of thing. If you choose these the first time you do it, it's going to take a really long time before it responds because it has to build a database in the background. So for this project though, you just specify the depth and width, and then you choose OK. And now you can go to the right side and see that you have a hole. You can add more if you want. I just need one place for you to do an insert so that we can see how the pegs are going to fit into these holes. All right, that's all I got.